Cybersecurity is in the spotlight today on Capitol Hill with a House Subcommittee hearing, and the man leading that hearing is Congressman Jason Chaffetz, Republican from Utah. He's chair of the House Oversight Subcommittee on National Security and Homeland Defense. Welcome to In Business, Congressman. What is the biggest threat? Why are you holding this hearing today?
Well, the threat is real. It's overwhelming in terms of its size and its scope. According to the federal government, attacks on U.S. interests, that is government interests, were up 39% just last year. So you look at the size and scope of this, it's usually invisible to a lot of people. But we have states that are coming after us. We have hackers. We have all kinds of people across the globe trying to tap into the assets that are found not only in the companies but also in the federal government, and it really is overwhelming and quite scary when you think about the data that's stored in these computers and what they could gain access to.
So, but where is that threat coming from? I mean, you're looking at Sony really unable to pinpoint not only what it's going to cost them to fix the problem, but really where the threat came from in the first place, and they've got tremendous interest to nail that down. Why do you think that the government should possibly take the lead on this?
Well, the threat is global. We're seeing it from virtually almost every single country on the planet. Great concerns of what's happening in China and our ability to thwart those attacks. Oftentimes they're able to mask the generation of where these come from. You get a sophisticated hacker, you get a mafia type organization that is involved in this type of thing, and they're fairly sophisticated now in how they can mask where this electronic data happens, because it's happening in literally fractions of seconds.
Right.
But the threats on all of our assets are just overwhelming right now.
No, I know. I've seen estimates cost, what, $6 million each time your site is hacked as a corporation at a minimum. But you have someone like Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Google, who's out there saying, wait a second, guys, the answer may not be regulation from Washington. The technological solution is probably the best way to go forward. So how do your efforts, mesh with that concept?
Well, there aren't necessarily regulations, although I think as we talk about how do we deal with our foreign relations, we talk about other entities that are found in countries that we're doing business with. It begs the question of how we deal with that.
Right.
We're giving aid to lots of these countries. If they're not helping us so that we can find where these attacks are coming from, maybe we should not be giving aid to these types of countries. So we don't necessarily need more regulation, but what we do need are good partners and to take this very seriously. Right now, the federal government has more than 2,000 databases. So on one hand, you think, well, maybe that's a good thing because you have a diversified portfolio. On the other hand, you wonder, how are we maintaining and securing all these databases with all this critical information? And I do appreciate the administration trying to tackle this, but we still have a lot of questions about how they're doing it.
Well, I know in Europe over the next few days at the G8 meeting, cybersecurity is going to be one of the topics, and the French president Sarkozy is calling for regulation. He's calling for a 3 strikes law to knock you off the internet if you have more than 3 offenses as a hacker. But you don't think that's the right way? You don't want to see regulation along those lines?
Well,
legislation
there has to
in
be,
the US?
Well, there has to be some strengthening of this, because right now we're so pathetically slow in the adjudication of these types of things. At the same time, you don't want to empower the federal government too much to just unilaterally knock people off the internet and their right to communicate and participate in free speech. But clearly, when you have people surreptitiously trying to grab data and information and then use that against people, our federal government is going to have to be much swifter. They're inadequate. It's woeful in how they're approaching it right now, and it's just, the technology is so old. I mean, we have one agency that's just getting Windows, for goodness sake. They think that's like new technology. So we got some problems that we have to deal with in the federal government.
All right, so, Congressman, thank you very much. Good luck with the hearing today.
Thank you.